this is good. Exploding, Jerry. Exploding out of Adelaide in '76, the Angels were a traditional blues and jug band, drunk on venom and anger of punk rock. What emerged from this bastard brew of old and new? This is terrific stuff, actually. Was the unique sound captured on their early anthems, Am I Ever Gonna See Your Face Again, Take a Long Line and Shadow Boxer. With their self-titled debut album and the brilliant Face to Face, the Angels quickly became one of the biggest bands in the country. Personified by their demented madman Doc Neeson and the twin guitar attack of the Brewster brothers, the Angels performed to packed, sweaty houses across the country, single-handedly defining the pub rock circuit that was later to spawn, in excess, hunters and collectors, two to gurus, and many who are no longer fashionable enough to mention. 10 years. They were my notes, by the way. What do you think? It's in excess, hunters and collectors and gurus. What is that, the end of the story? 10 years after they emerged, a veritable lifetime in rock and roll, the band released The Howling and spawned a bunch of hit singles, including Don't Waste My Time and We Gotta Get Out of This Place. In 1990, with the album Beyond Salvation, the band reinvented themselves. Obviously, someone else wrote this, not connected with the band. Reinvented themselves again, and in the process, scored their first ever #1 album, the monster hit single Dogs Are Talking. Through it all, the Angels have always stayed close to their roots. One of the few bands... One of the few... That's my Benny Hill look. Here we go again. One of the few bands who take time to... Hey, this is the serious bit. One of the few bands who take time out to play for charities, prison projects, youth groups, and helping to nurture young Australian talent. I would pause at this time, I am sure, with the blessing of the boys and the girls, the Angels, the boys, in congratulating personally Living End. The achievement that they've just found out about, they were a little bit dismayed about it themselves today, is truly outstanding. The Angels have done more that can never be repaid to nurture, to foster, support and truly extend a helping and a friendship hand out to young Australian bands, young Australian musicians. And they've always done it in true rock style. Ear-splitting volume, breakneck intensity, that's called Loud and Proud. In 1998, the Angels are still hard at it. Touring their latest album, Skin and Bone, through every nook and cranny of this vast land, still whipping crowds into a frenzy with their signature tune, Am I Ever Gonna See Your Face Again? With over 1 million records sold in this country and more than 20 years, 20 continuous years of active duty, the Angels remain an intrinsic part of this industry. Not only that, but of the Australian culture. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me, because I am a friend and I am a believer, it gives me the greatest amount of pleasure to induct into the ARIA Hall of Fame a band that still sings it like they mean it, because they do. They are the real deal, ladies and gentlemen, the Angels.
Well, folks, Angry, thank you very much for those kind words. must say, after our last tour with Rose Tattoo still play it loud and proud too. I've got a few notes here because I didn't want to miss some important people. And on behalf of the Angels, I'd like to thank the ARIA committee for recognising the band's contribution to Australian music in this important way. By inducting us into the Hall of Fame, we stand before you a very proud Australian band tonight. And before I go on, I'd like to introduce you to the band members. On my left, on rhythm guitar, John Brewster. Another Australian from California, Jim Hilburn on bass. From Auckland, Brent Eccles on drums. One of our few Australians in the band, Rick Brewster on lead guitar. And my name's not Fleeson. No. Okay, we'd like to formally acknowledge some people who've made a major contribution to the Angels during our career so far. Back in our early days, we wouldn't have got a record deal without Malcolm Angus and Bon Scott of AC/DC championing our cause to George Young, Harry Vanden, Ted Albert at Albert's Records. And we probably wouldn't have got airplay if it wasn't for the extraordinary efforts of FIFA Riccobono. As you can see, thanks go to Albert for starting us on our recording careers. And thanks also to Mark Opitz, Andrew Scott, Terry Manning, and Alan Niven for their help in recording studios all around the world. Thank you. On the subject of recording studios, we've got to thank Dennis Hanlon at Sony, then called CBS Epic. Dennis, you're always a great fighter. He hasn't stopped yet. I see ya. And another great fighter is Michael Gudinski of Mushroom Records, who with Warren Costello gave us our first #1 album, Beyond Salvation, in 1990. Thanks, Michael. The Angels have been very fortunate in having some great musicians play with the band. And tonight, some past members of the band are also being inducted into the Hall of Fame. Please make welcome Graham Buzz Bidstrup, Chris Bailey, and Bob Spencer. Yeah, all right. And we'd like to take this opportunity of thanking you guys for your talented contribution to the Angels' career. Thanks. Thanks, guys. Okay. In our careers, we've traveled many miles, and somebody who did those early hard miles with us is our first manager, John Woodruff, or Woody as he's known. You should take a bow. Where are you, John? He's not too telephotogenic, so he's still sitting. But I can see him now. John's a character, a rogue, a gentleman, and a great friend. Even though he's moved on in the industry, his influence still remains with us. And thanks, John. A vital part of our career has been touring and live performances. To make this happen, we've had the support of many talented professionals. I'm speaking of the media, agents, our crews and tour managers. Sam, Frank, Tony, Brian, Dirty Pool, RPM, McCabe in Queensland. Thanks for the facts, Mark. Neil, I should say. Mark and Bicky, Spider, Ashley, Bobby and Taylor. The surgeon, Jeff, Raylight Hawkins, and our MC, Pat Pickett, come to mind here. Thanks too to Molly Meldrum and the Triple M Network. Anya. Thanks, Molly. In many ways, the Angels are a band of the people, and without the continued support of generations of rock fans, we wouldn't be here tonight. The Angels have had top 5 albums in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And we're planning more albums in the new millennium, so look out for them. Our wives, partners and children have given us their constant support and encouragement. Often, yeah, thanks. I don't know if you know what it's like, but they often face many weeks and maybe even months of pressure of being alone, while we guys are away out on the road having an endless party. You know what it's like. But by their sacrifices and help, we've been able to stay on working in this industry. So our love goes to Helen, Robbie, Mandy, Christine, Sintret and Kim. Thank you. Well, who'd have thought it? Nearly 25 years, my parents are still waiting for me to get a real job. But here we are in 1998, still going strong. In closing, I'd like to thank David Williams and all the team at Shock Records, our new record label, for their work on our new album, Skin and Bone. And to David personally for getting us here in the Hall of Fame tonight. It's a great honor. Thanks, David. Like many Australians, I wasn't born here, but I know one thing. Australia is a great country to live and work in. And all Australian music should be the #1 priority for the media, the industry, and the government. Australian music has an exciting, original style of its own, which reflects the energy of its people. And I'm here to say, and we're here to say, we're proud to be part of it. On behalf of the Angels, thank you.